Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I feel like I'm quoting the Truman Show now. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the More Than Muscle podcast. I'm Max. I'm joined by Andy and Natalie. How are we doing? How's our week's been? What's going on, Nat?
Yeah, good. You call me Natalie.
I did. I honestly don't know why. It was
you're like my mum, like
instinctive.
Natalie.
Is that when you know you're in trouble, when
Yeah.
you use your full name? It's like me, Maximilian. If I hear that, I know, ooh.
Andreas, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Quite like it makes us all sound professional,
Yeah.
and believe it or not, we're trying to sound professional on the podcast. I don't know how well we're succeeding, but the effort is there.
The fitness podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Big inverted commas there. What's been going on with you, Andy, this week?
I'm just tying up them hobnobs, bro.
Oh, I know. So
I think they're just out of eye shot of camera.
That's alright, they don't need to be seen.
I'll put them in. If you're watching us on YouTube, I'm holding a packet of hobnobs. Interestingly, so this week we're going to be discussing obesity, government action surrounding obesity as well. And yeah, it seems that our sound engineer Tom bought us some hobnobs. Andy, what was your pre-game snack before we came in here?
It was cake.
No, not just any cake.
Not just any
Well,
cake.
it had pistachio.
Blackberry, pistachio,
Vegan cake.
and it was
There
a
you go.
vegan cake.
So I made it special.
Piers
Max
Morgan
has
doesn't approve
turned
this
us.
message. It's vegan. It must be healthy. I had a friend tell me that about a crosstown donut, and they were like, "Yeah, but it's vegan, so it's healthy." And I just said, "Chips are vegan."
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
Exactly.
oh dear. Right. Anyway, let's get into it. Obesity is a really tough topic to talk about these days. I think with a lot of body positivity, there's some fat shaming that you can have going on. There was that Cosmopolitan cover as well, which caused a massive amount of controversy. So I feel like it's a difficult subject to broach, but we're going to give it our best go this week. Really sad statistics. I'm afraid 28% of English adults are obese and 36% are overweight. And it gets even worse as you get older, since 3/4 of people, 45 to 74, are either obese or overweight as well. So it's clearly an enormous issue for the country as a whole, and government is taking as much action on it as possible. But what experiences have you guys had when it comes to clients coming in who are quite seriously overweight and trying to, tell them the best ways they can actually make changes in their lives to see that improvement? Nat, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, it's quite a hard one, because especially when people inquire with us, that is a big step to ask for help from a professional. So they might have gone to their GP before, but to actually go privately and seek help, that's a really big step to take. And it's just starting off slowly, because it's not, you don't wake up one day and you're suddenly overweight or obese. It's an accumulation over time, and it's a lot of habits being built over an amount of time as well. And it's not just clients as well. I think it's within families, and it's within sort of a lot of, well, it's definitely within my family as well, obesity and overweight. And yeah, it is a tough topic.
I think it's a brave step coming in, and I think there's so many negative stigmas surrounding it. Whether it's body shaming, I think people who are quite severely overweight can feel super self-conscious about themselves coming in, and feel like they shouldn't necessarily come in for fear of us judging them. But in reality, it's the complete opposite. Those are the sort of people that need it the most, and therefore, I think we'd all urge to come in and actually, start making those steps in the right direction.
Yeah. People who are overweight think, oh, I shouldn't be in the gym, I shouldn't really be seen there. But honestly, if somebody's overweight, or if it's like their first time in the gym, oh my gosh, I champion that. You just think, yes, go for it.
Yeah. I think we was talking about this, not so much about obesity, but training in general. It's important when these clients come in that you help them fall in love with the training process, because as Nat says, it's such a deep lying habitual thing that they've been doing slowly over maybe their whole life, and it's kind of caught up with them and they've become obese and whatever, that it's not just going to happen overnight. And then I feel like you get two types of clients. You get one that comes in that is really nervous, and you can see they're really nervous, and then you get the other one that comes in with a big mask over it, and they almost play the Joker card with it. And it's like, I'm here, I'm fat, I don't care, I'm going to sort it out. But really, sometimes those guys are the harder ones because they're masking like the psychological problems that are causing what they have. So I think you have to be careful on how you attack it. And
also it sometimes masks the seriousness of it as well. Like, oh yeah, I'm a fat lump or whatever. Yeah. It's like, well, no, you're trying to make a joke out of the situation, which is just insecurities, but you do need to look at it as a serious matter.
It's a coping mechanism. I think the challenge is you have a lot of mental health problems that come along with obesity in terms of you can sometimes have body dysmorphia, which starts when you're skinny, and therefore you just progressively gain weight, and then you almost develop a self-loathing. Depression is another massive one you get hit with, and then that creates a vicious cycle because a coping mechanism for that can then subsequently be overeating as well, which is a vicious cycle, and you just got to break the loop at some point.
Yeah. I think psychology is the massive part of it. You almost got to harden them up sometimes, but it needs to be slowly done, because otherwise I find the coping mechanism is usually, I'll sort it out later. Or I'm fat, I'll always be fat, I'm made like this, I'm big boned, or whatever. And it's kind of like making them see past it, that they are able to do what they need to do.
Yeah, those stats are crazy as well.
They are. It's over 45 to 74, 3/4 being overweight or obese. And obviously I think there comes, as you get later on in life, you have other problems, or not necessarily problems, but commitments as well. You're probably at the top of your game in terms of career in your mid-late 40s, families, everything like that, as well as motivation as well. You're probably not out on the pull in the nightclubs anymore. You're not feeling the need to have those washboard abs and stuff. So
you can quite clearly see why we've had a pandemic and why it's been exaggerated, maybe. I mean, that's British stats, right?
Yes.
What the hell is the world's one like? I'm sure it's pretty bad, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think, again, going back to the training process, I think that's why it's so important as coaches, us and everybody within our industry, it's really important to help them fall in love with it, because there's so many aspects to training that don't have to sit under obesity or fat or muscle or those kind of physiological adaptations, that if they actually fall in love with it, that will be the sub that comes along with it. And because they'll be doing it more and more often, more frequently, they'll probably, one, lose the weight they need, but two, build like huge habits of success that they've never seen to kind of snowball the effort they need.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important.
I completely agree. I think whilst we're talking about statistics as well, I think BMI is quite an interesting one, because that's what the statistics are based off of in terms of whether someone is classified as overweight or obese. It's on the BMI index, and plus 30 being obese in that case. But I think it's a really tricky one to have a one size fits all, because if we look at BMI specifically, someone like Dwayne Johnson is technically obese because of his height and weight, but obviously it's all muscle in his case, so therefore there is very little health risk, and risk of heart disease, cardiovascular disease, liver disease, so many things like that. So he's not technically obese, but according to BMI he is. So now I know you were talking about doing a bit of research into that and how outdated
and
it
it's
is.
like, well, it started in 1830. It's nearly like 200 years old.
Ridiculous.
And it was like a really quick and easy way to say if somebody is underweight, normal weight, overweight or obese. But it was done on a study with people who didn't really exercise much, and they didn't really work out either at all. So it's not considered an element of it. So I think it's just a really quick and easy way for the government to just, I don't know, put a number on something to say, oh, you're underweight or you're overweight. But if you're a trained individual, or if you go to the gym, if you do any sport, if you've got a bit of muscle mass, then it just sends that number way out.
It's all the government statistics and the government based, the daily recommendations. And I saw someone online post recently, just like government daily recommendations, or if you want a government recommended body, and then it was just like immediately cut to one of Boris Johnson. And it's
Wait,
like,
what is it like? Your weight
Waist to hip.
divided by like your height
Your
or
height.
something like that.
or it's
think-
weight,
yeah.
height, and age all factored in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a metric for the sedentary, and the fact is most people are sedentary based on those statistics. So it's like any other assessment; it needs to be utilised for the right.
It's quick,
thing.
it's cheap, done.
And there is some advantage to it, but as soon as we make them step into the gym and we start being a little bit more athletic with them and we move them around and we start getting changes with them, it's like we need to shift what we're measuring, because that's no longer, the underpinning metric that they should be looking at, and that there's so much more to be looking into. But I think for the sedentary, it can be decent.
Yeah.
It gets bastardized quite a lot because we're looking into it, but the fact is, if you're someone who just sits on your bum all day, it probably does tell you need to get off it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are some government initiatives, I think I'd call them, to try and obviously curb this, so encouraging people to get off their bums. One is they're starting to offer financial incentives for families to both exercise and eat more fruit and veg.
Yeah,
and
I heard this.
This does
What the
baffle
fuck?
me a little bit. The fact that
That is mad.
for some reason you need money as a motivation, when it surely should be the fact that, well, you're going to die if you don't sort this out, or you're going to be afflicted with these horrible diseases, which you are so much more likely to contract, obviously, if you are severely overweight. I honestly don't understand. I need someone else to come in on it, because otherwise I'm just going to go off.
Yeah,
on
well,
a
I think
controlled rant.
on a different spectrum as well. They also have, was it the sugar tax?
Yes, exactly, on fizzy drinks.
Fizzy
That's the one.
drinks. Does that apply to like alcohol and things as well?
No, it's purely
which is
soft
complete.
drinks. So it looks at sugar content, but it obviously doesn't cover sugar-free drinks with sweeteners. It's only sugar themselves.
Okay.
So you'll notice in every one of your chain restaurants and stuff, the automatic option is the diet one, because they want to sell that to you, because they don't have to pay as much for it, because obviously the sugar version is being taxed by the government.
The problem is all of these initiatives are just going to paper over the cracks. They might fix things in the short term, but ultimately, as we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, with the client having his daughter going to a school, and they were looking at things like activity, not the cream of the crop, and sport and winning being the only thing for PE. I think it starts at school, and we or parents have to take a bigger interest in that, so that we can support our children and help them learn, because that's going to be the next generations coming through. And I think if the government spent more time hiring educated professionals in these institutions and promoting that, then you're going to start seeing a change, but it's going to be a slow burner.
Yeah.
That being said, I understand they need to do things quickly also, because there's a huge problem going on. But I still think there's better ways to do it.
Yeah, I think education is key. Like knowing where like potatoes are grown, and like where like meat is coming from, and like farming and all of that. I think that's a huge thing that needs to be done. And, like getting people cooking.
You talked about it in reception and stuff, like talking about farm animals and stuff like that. I think that's sort of it, isn't it? It's
it's like, what sound does a pig make? Like honestly.
Again, going back to teaching the obese and whoever actually turns up to gym about training principles and buying into those things and making them enjoy the whole process. The only reason I started learning about nutrition at school was because I wasn't doing athletic stuff, and I was like, right, I want to be better. So then you look into those things, but if you've never needed to utilize it, you might never look at it. So you'll only ever look at food as how it tastes, what gives you instant gratification, sweets, cakes, all the rest of it. I just banged a whole one from wherever I had it. Nice. But I don't think it is just about food. There needs to be more about movement, because it's not sugar's fault that you're consuming it. But also you need to earn it if you're going to be eating it. So what are we doing as a government, as a country, as a world, to actually promote people moving more? Because then it's not such a problem.
We have a lot of clients coming in to see us as well, where they come in, train with us 3-4 times a week to justify eating out a lot, because you need to do that to justify the 4 or 5 fancy meals, all the alcohol they're drinking, and that's just an essential part of it.
Yeah, I know. Some people are just fully aware of that they're always counterbalancing their giant eating habits. But I mean, yeah, it fuels their training.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah, they always have a good session. But yeah, they're keen on training, and that's quite important.
Absolutely. I think it's important to flip things on their head a little bit. So they're talking about a sugar tax in terms of, making bad things cost more. But I don't know, in my opinion, the way I'm looking at it is make things that are good for you cheaper. I think government subsidies would probably be a more efficient way of doing it, because people's justifications for bad eating a lot of the time are that healthy options are very expensive. So you look at a McDonald's, and I can buy a burger for 99p. Why would I not have that when? Why would I have a salad that costs a fiver instead?
I mean, I remember being a kid at school, and at lunchtimes we were allowed to go out and get food. We didn't have to have it from the canteen, and we had a Sainsbury's that was across the way, so we always used to just bop out to Sainsbury's and then buy our lunch. And I remember buying massive multi-packs of Frazzles, sweets, because at the end of the day it was 25p for the Frazzles, 10p for this, 10p for that. But then if I was to buy a sandwich and drink, or a salad bowl and drink, or whatever's a little bit better choice, I'd be spending close to £8. And as a kid, you wouldn't have that. No. So it's parents are going to be doing that, especially if they've got 3 kids or 4 kids, or even 2, 1, whatever. It's just, this is the problem, and you hit the nail on the head with it. I think that's what the government should be also looking at, rather than trying to hike up what's bad for you. Yeah,
because people will still buy it. You'll find a way to still consume it, because that high-end healthy stuff, your kale and avocado salad is still crazily expensive, and you're never going to justify that, especially if you don't really want it. Stick a high price tag on it as well. There's no way in hell you're going to select something like that. The last little bit I wanted to touch on was there was a recent Guardian headline which triggered me just a little bit, which said weight loss via exercise harder for obese people. I think there are so many challenges that obese people face when they come into the gym in terms of certain movements they can't do. Obviously, they are carrying so much more weight just when they're doing any movement. So, we don't need to load them up on a step up with dumbbells. They've already got a lot of dead weight that they're just carrying. So the exercise is harder itself. But I think it's not necessarily harder. It's that people aren't being educated, or people aren't, offering out support for people who are in this sort of shape, and teaching them how they need to be working out. I think that's the real struggle.
Yeah, try being 12% and lose weight. It's harder.
Yeah.
So it's one of those headlines that is so short-winded, but
it's hard to lose weight for anyone.
Yeah.
Your body has a set point that it likes to stay at.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why personal training is so good, because it's personalised to the client. So that's what we tend to do anyway.
Absolutely. No, I think the plateau can be a little bit hard for some people that are quite severely overweight. So if, say, you are 25 stone, you've never worked out a day in your life, all of a sudden you start a training program. Your first week you might lose a stone and a half. Your second week you might lose another stone. And then when that starts to tail off, the motivation, I think, falls off a cliff as well. And I've had that with people, in my family, in my personal life as well. And it's a really big struggle to keep them motivated, because the progress does start to slow down.
I think weight loss shouldn't be there. I think training shouldn't be there as a weight loss mechanism. Yeah, you can use it for that, but you're supposed to use training so that you're more robust, you're fitter, so that you can do things in your life, so that you give yourself more capacity to eat more food, lose weight if you wanted to, achieve things that you need to do in the park with your kids, whatever. Because at the end of the day, whether you're 200 kilos, 80 kilos, trained, untrained, your weight loss should come through, habitual stuff, your lifestyle choices, all of those things. Because, I've been really lean, and I've been not so lean. I still train good. My training's not changed much. It's just what I'm doing outside of that has changed. So I think it's a very narrow headline, and it's one typical of the news.
Absolutely, yeah. I think our game last week really highlighted the problem you have with news headlines these days, that they don't reflect the full picture or what the real answer may be. I think something else that was highlighted in the article itself was that it's largely due to total daily energy expenditure dropping when people exercise. And it isn't just the case for people that are overweight or obese. It's regardless of whatever target you've got or whatever stage you are at with your physique. is that when you've done a workout, you seem to then justify that, or even inadvertently just move less. You get home, your legs are burning, you think, wow, I'm going to now sit on my arse for the rest of the day. When you would have usually gone out, maybe seen some friends, maybe gone for a walk.
Which is when people diet so much as well, and all of the energy goes, and when what we were touching upon last week with go hard or go home, you just spend so much energy in your workout, you don't eat very much, and then all of a sudden your energy expenditure outside of all of that 1 hour in the gym goes. And you're just sitting on the sofa again, when actually you might have gone out for a walk, or you might have, I don't know, had something else that will give you a bit more energy.
What other exercises are there? Go on, you're a PT. Who could walk?
Hip extension.
It's not in the gym. Walk. I think that's what people exhaust all avenues, and then they become really exhausted, which stops them doing their
it's the typical
daily activities.
It's the typical January one, right? I'm gonna train with Andy 3 times. I'm also gonna train with Max 3 times. I'm also gonna train with Nat 3 times in 3 different gyms because I'm that way inclined. And I'm also gonna do like 5 different boot camp classes because the gym I'm at is offering classes to go to. I'm also gonna just eat grass, take away all coffee, stop alcohol for a whole month, and I'm gonna hit 10,000 steps a day every day for a month. And it's like, it's not going to last, man. No wonder exercise is the reason why things are like stopping you. It's because you've just pitched yourself on the top of the cliff. And like, you're already obese, so it's going to be a big crash when you hit the floor.
Yeah.
So I think those are the problems.
I think so too. I thought I'd lighten things up with our game this week, guys. So, classic car journey vibes. We're going to go for 10 questions, not 20. I don't want to send the audience to sleep. So I thought we'd all pick someone specifically in the fitness industry, and the other 2 have 10 questions to guess who that person is. Obviously, I've not briefed you on this game beforehand, so I don't mind going first if you guys fancy that.
Go for it.
Okay, so there we go. I've got someone in mind. When you're ready, fire away. You've got 10 questions. Who am I?
Male or female?
Male. I'm going to say either got to be yes or no questions. So you can't.
I was going to say my next question was going to be, who is it? Tall or short?
No, you have to say. Here we go again. Andy on his game.
Andy doesn't understand any rules.
You got to say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Is he tall?
No.
Is he tall? Is he short?
Oh my god.
Andy's really burning through his
Is he endomorph?
Is he a human being? No, he's not an endomorph.
No, it's not me.
Does he have dark hair?
Yes.
Does he have curly hair?
Yes.
Does he like burpees?
Yes.
Is he a chef?
Yes, kind of.
What?
I know who it is.
Go on then. Who is it? You got 2 questions left. You're on 8. Who is it?
Joe Wicks.
Obviously.
Joe Briggs.
Joe Wicks.
He is.
Who's that?
I don't know, mate. It's some guy that's copying my hair, my brand, my fitness sort of thing I've got going on over
Is he in the fitness industry?
I'm not entirely sure, mate. But he just jogs on the spot and does some burpees. But yeah, no, completely copied my brand. Have either of you 2 got someone in mind?
I've got somebody.
Okay, all right, let's do that. Andy, no, is he tall? Is he short? Is he endomorph?
Is he a man?
Yes.
Okay. Is he someone we know personally?
No.
Ah, okay. Is he an athlete?
No.
Is he wham?
Yes.
Is he sexy?
Not. No.
Not
my type.
I'm just trying to stir the pot still. Okay, so not Nat's type. Andy, you might be better.
Is he Gymshark?
No.
It's not
Is
you.
he? It's not me. Obviously, wham. Okay. Are they an Instagram influencer?
No.
Good. Thank God for that. Are they an athlete, like a professional athlete?
No, you
No.
already
Have
said
I already
that.
asked that? Oh,
Yeah.
god damn it.
Are they blonde?
No,
I wouldn't know. Oh,
you've got one more left.
I don't count the double question as two. We've got 2 more questions. Come on now. Andy, I think we might have screwed the pooch on this one.
Do they know their shit?
No.
Fuck it.
So someone that's wham that doesn't know their shit.
That's 2 people in my industry.
Oof. I'm
Got
out.
one more question.
Can I phone a friend?
No.
Ask the audience.
If it's me, then yeah.
Who is it, bro?
Are you?
Are they vegan?
Yeah, are you vegan? Why not?
No.
Well.
I don't think so.
Why would I know who they are then?
I don't know who it is. Who is it?
Mr. Motivator.
Oh, what a legend this geezer is.
I wouldn't have got that. Nah, I'm out.
Right, Andy.
Andy, you got someone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an evil-looking smile as well.
Is this person male?
No.
Hang on. There we go. We got some gender diversity here. That's what we needed.
Is this? Do you follow this person on Instagram?
No.
Okay. Are you wham?
Is this woman wham?
Yeah, women can be wham.
Yeah.
What's your definition of wham?
Just, you look at someone and you're like, yeah, they're pretty wham. That's my definition. I look at them and I'm like, yes.
Oh my god. They're not wham.
They're not that wham.
No.
They're kind of on the fence. On the fence wham.
Are they an athlete?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know them personally?
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know.
I don't know if you would.
I've got links.
No.
No. Have they been in the Olympics?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Ooh. Are you track?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're getting warm.
Are they a mum?
Fuck knows. How would I know?
Okay. I
Okay.
feel like that's not a question.
Okay.
If we don't get an answer, did you compete in Tokyo?
Nope.
Okay. So maybe like a legacy. Are you British?
Yep.
Okay. We're 9 down. We've got 1 to go. I'm struggling there. Who do you think?
Hair colour?
Who? Sorry.
Hair colour? Say hair colour.
You can go. Yeah. You can guess.
Do they have dark hair?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's messed up. Who I thought it was then. Yeah. Who do you reckon now?
Who did you think it was?
I was leaning towards Jessica Ennis-Hill.
Yeah, it was just a second. You got it right.
Did I really?
Hey!
She's got dark hair.
Bloody hell. No, I thought she was kind of
And
blonde
she's
these
a
days.
mum!
And she isn't.
Well, I
Yeah,
don't
she's
know. I
definitely
said I
not.
didn't know. I didn't say no.
Sick. Happy days. I
Yes.
can't believe that.
I didn't know she was blonde either. I thought she was...
It's a shot in the dark. Oh, happy
Very
days.
good.
Woo.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Big bow. Nat's the best at this game, clearly. Or best at picking more obscure people.
I picked someone in the industry who knows what they're doing.
I think she does. I think the gold
Miss
medals.
Motivator does.
Joe Wicks doesn't.
Yeah, no argument there.
Talking of government action on obesity, I think something which got a lot of attention a few months back was calories appearing on menus and the potential issues, benefits, weighing that up, whether that's actually a good idea. But I'm wondering what your guys' thoughts are on this. I think it can create so many problems with people under eating and people who are either orthorexic or anorexic as well. But obviously you're trying to steer the other side of the coin, steer people who are overweight and knocking them down. So
yeah.
Andy, do you want to comment on that?
I think it's really useful and handy for someone like myself because I feel like I have a good understanding of calories and all those things that you were speaking about, so I can manage it properly. But the biggest issue is going back to school again. It's like awareness of what does calories actually mean, what is energy balance, how does that reflect anything, and then what these numbers are potentially doing is creating those issues that you spoke about. So I still think it's a short-term approach to a problem that is massive and deep. And so we need to start educating what those numbers mean and reflect. And that is the biggest issue. But I like the fact they're there for me.
Yeah.
If somebody like looks at the menu and then sees, I don't know, chocolate cake in the dessert menu that's 400 calories, but then sees, I don't know, grilled salmon with broccoli and potatoes for 600 calories, and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna have the chocolate cake.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, it's less calories, so I'm just gonna have that.
I rate that if someone goes into a restaurant and goes straight to dessert.
Oh my gosh, I've got a friend like that.
Have you really?
But it's like also other things like, okay, so I went for a run. My Fitbit told me that was 300 calories, so I'll subtract that, and then that means I can have that 300 calorie cake. Like, if you've done your calories properly, then that number's been accounted for in the inclusion of activity, so you don't need to add and further justify that so you can fit the cake in, unless that run was completely out of the norm of activity that you had done on average anyway.
I think what you guys are talking about is part of the problem, though. You guys are talking about calculating based on, I did a run, X number of calories, and the whole idea about obviously going out to eat, especially, it's for most people at least, more of an occasion, more of a celebration. You want to relax and take time away from that.
Yeah.
So I think that in lies the problem of I'm trying to relax and have a good time.
Yeah, being educated as well with what you're selecting. Like, Peter, you know when you're getting a burger with fries that it's going to be higher in calories than the grilled version.
It's like me going, here's a barbell max, here's a mat, here's a gym. Get on with it. All those things are really useful. You can do a lot with them. And what's happening now is we have like Fitbits, we have iWatches, we have whatever fucking shit.
The Chinese listening to me, everywhere.
And you have like Fitness Pal, Nutri-Checker, whatever you call them, as loggers. And then you've got like then the calories on menus, and we have all this data and instruments to absorb it all, but no one's actually been taught what to do with it, and it's like the same. Here's a barbell,
We're
mate.
just tracking so much shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, squats are great for you, but fuck me, if you can't do them properly, you're probably going to break yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, it goes back to the fundamental of we need to go back to school. Like, why aren't they giving us cash to educate everyone else? Because it's not instant.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to think long term with these sorts of things.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of being on menus as well, there is a certain benefit to it, because there are certain things on a menu which you may perceive to be healthy, but especially in restaurants. I mean, there's a reason restaurant food is usually more delicious than what you cook at home. It's because it's got a crap load more salt and oil in it, and those things are delicious and we enjoy that, but you don't necessarily see it. You see I don't know, for instance, chicken, but you don't realise that chicken has been fried in, I don't know, 4 or 5 tablespoons of olive oil, and then all of a sudden that's absorbed, another 300 calories on top of what you think it would be.
I question how accurate
as well, yeah.
True, yeah.
the numbers are on there. I can just imagine the chef in the restaurant, big knob of butter, olive oil, like what's me gonna?
I still hands down question when it has a vegan sign next to it whether it truly is.
I mean, me too. Yeah.
I just don't believe them.
No, I think when
prepping.
It's in I just think, look, I just want to go out for a meal. Can you just leave me alone? Like, calories just standing there. Like, I just want to enjoy my meal, please.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think we all need to be able to relax, take time out. I think all 3 of us will happily go out and sit down in a restaurant and not worry about it in the slightest. But then again, I think that's the struggle, because we have a healthy relationship with food, we have a healthy relationship with exercise, and not everyone does have that same luxury, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah.
It is crazy. It is so crazy. It's such a, I keep saying it, multifaceted, deep, underpinning, lying, whatever you want to call it, problem. But I just don't see, I don't know, someone more clever than me might know, but I just don't see any way out of it than going right deep into nursery and going from there.
I mean, the education that's currently there is stupid. I remember I was being taught the food plate back when I was at school, and obviously there's no account for allergies, or say someone's lactose intolerant. Apparently, 1/5 of the Eat Well plate is dairy. So obviously, that may be something some people might struggle with, or some people have a greater reliance on certain nutrients depending on, religious beliefs, for example. I've got a client that doesn't eat meat twice a week. So obviously, meat and protein, that was another 1/5 of the Eat Well plate. But this Eat Well plate was developed in the 50s.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's severely outdated in terms of just when this research was actually done, as well as the fact that it doesn't account for everyone's different shapes and sizes.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being at school, obviously, and
Just about.
yeah, having PE teachers who didn't want to do PE, they would just like babysit for an hour.
Yeah.
I remember having food tech teachers that were so obese they couldn't even climb the stairs to take us at the top floor where we should have had the classroom. They would take the lift. I remember like working in schools as a PE teacher, but working for an external company because the school had to hire it because they didn't have the skill within the school. And I'm thinking, why isn't the fucking government investing so that each school is equipped with these things, and then actually hire enthusiastic people to fill the roles? Like people that are passionate about food, people that are passionate about training, exercise, all of the rest of it, sport. Like, it just doesn't compute with me. What are they spending their bloody cash on? It doesn't make sense. Surely that's the logical answer.
Yeah, I think so too. I think blanket calorie recommendations are dumb as well. Looking at that, you look at the back of every single thing. Here, this packet of hobnobs. Again, the quality that we've got these here. But there's a daily recommended calorie intake for men and women. Men it's 2,500, women it's 2,000. But if you are 5 foot nothing and I don't know, say 45 kilos, your recommended is going to be different. Imagine there's a woman who's 6 foot and she's an Olympic volleyball player. She's going to have a completely different calorie intake requirement than you. But for some reason, the government's just pushing the same numbers to different genders.
But even like the cycle to work scheme, it's like, fuck's sake. You're a fucking knob. What's wrong with you, you fucking bastard? Just come on.
I think going on the numbers as well, there was a thing, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago or last year, where they were going to put next to all the calories how long it will take you to exercise to burn that off.
For God's sake. Also, who comes up with this shit?
It's completely dependent on how high your output is.
Yeah, but also you don't have to like physically exercise every single calorie off. Like it doesn't work like that. You'll be a skeleton.
No, the thermic effect of food and like, how your body actually processes it. Just sitting right now, I guarantee you, we've all burnt 20-30 calories.
I think it's something like 70 to 79 calories per hour doing fuck all.
Yeah.
Just to be alive. So you times that by 24, that's quite a big chunk.
I just think that's a really dangerous way to go. If you're thinking every calorie you consume, you have to burn.
That is the most dangerous one. But yet it's still being like, it's still a thing. People still think that's a thing. And like, that's the biggest fight when we're teaching nutrition. And like, you do want to teach the numbers of it because at the end of the day, they count and they matter. But there's a danger that you don't have enough contact time with the client, and so they don't see it like that, they don't perceive it like that, and then the problem is exactly what Nat says. And we have numerous clients that come into the door initially that have this issue, and all they're doing is counting in and out. And it's like, mate, for fuck's sake,
how do you
just
feel?
Eat a burger, man.
And how do you feel? It's like everything is so numerical.
Yeah.
So to shift away from government action, let's say someone has taken the brilliant first step. They've come into the gym. They've come to see one of us three, morethanmuscle.co.uk. What are we recommending someone like that actually does in the gym? For instance, say they're taking their first steps in the gym. You've got a big belly, for example. So I find push-ups is quite a prevalent one. People who are quite overweight, but oftentimes have big, strong shoulders. They want to do some push-ups, but obviously the belly gets in the way, things like that, as well as other host of issues like mobility issues around the hips and things. What would you sort of recommend someone coming into the gym straight away? What can they crack on with to actually get them going, Andy?
So you're saying, I'm just clarifying the question.
That's all right.
You're saying someone comes into the gym, there's issues because of their weight. What do they need to do when they come into the gym to make sure that they have
a successful workout? Exactly, because not everything's going to be necessarily as available to them.
Well, I think the most important thing that anybody does, regardless of obese or not, is make sure you come and see. If you're talking about us, let us assess you, because at the end of the day, there is no blanket to working out. And even exercises, you set them up specifically to how tall you are, how wide you are, all the rest of it. So definitely get assessed, and then you can be showcased 4 or 5 exercises. You can't really go wrong with a hinge, a squat, a push and a pull, and maybe some sort of rotation. You can't go wrong with that. But if you let one of us, or wherever you go and do your training, set you up correctly, as Max says, with like a push-up, then there's probably some way in which you can get a push in without your belly getting in the way.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important. Let yourself be taught, because then you get the small win to start.
Yeah.
And the problem is people come in, they go and just do some of the things that they've read, some of the things you've seen. As you see in the media, you get a short-sighted what is right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It works for a bit, and then there's a breakdown. So I think that's the most important thing. It's like set yourself up so that you can go with it.
Yeah, and just moving your body in the correct ways that it's meant to.
Yeah.
It's really, really simple. You don't have to do any jumping around, burpees, doing fancy, I don't know, jump lunges, all of that stuff. Like, you don't have to do any of that. And Instagram is full of crazy workouts at the moment and weird exercises I've never seen in my life. Don't know how I'd ever use them. But just keep it really, really simple. And don't go balls to walls to start off with. But I would always say, even if it's just for a month, like, go and speak to a professional, get some help, do some exercises that they prescribe, and just get yourself off to a good start.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to learn a new language, you can try and learn it on Rosetta Stone, or you can go and get a teacher to teach you. I know which one's going to give you the better result. And at the end of the day, you can go on Google, it will tell you a few things, or you can spend the cash, spend the time, spend it wisely, because there's a lot of shit out there.
Yeah, it will help you in the long run.
It will help you in the long run, even if you only did it for a month.
Yeah.
But I guarantee if you do it for a month and you see success, you're probably staying.
The knowledge you can pass on in that time. It's invaluable, yeah. I think I do have to confess, guys, that was a completely loaded question, which basically turned into a PT advert, which I was slightly angling for.
Just buy the fucking sessions.
The thing is, the answer does often come round to that. It's the fact is people need good knowledge on a subject and a professional to show them how to do something which is going to work specifically for their body.
Yeah, and want to do it. Like, don't come and give me your cash if you can't be asked. Simple.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
want to do it, and you will see results.
So for Max's mediation this week, I thought I would do a very, very simple game. See how in sync you guys are, see how compatible we're getting. In terms of fitness, I thought we'd do a little bit of this or that. So I'm just going to hit you with two things. You're just both going to answer first one that comes into your head, which one you prefer, essentially. So start off with squat or deadlift. Nat, go.
Squat.
And
Squat.
why?
Because it's the king, and your deadlift can improve off your squat, but your squat doesn't necessarily improve based off your deadlift.
That's true. Would you not argue that if you could only do one exercise, that a deadlift would be a more multi-compound movement?
Yeah, but man don't care about that, innit? Man just wants to jump higher.
To be fair, you're appealing to me with that. Alright guys, next one. Cardio in the gym or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Outdoors.
I mean, obviously, I think that. Although to be fair, I do like those curve runners. Those are pretty cool when we were in Rocket 27.
I'd still put it outside.
But yeah, absolutely. We might twist your ankle and stuff. Me and my glass ankles, mate. If I go outside, oh dear.
I'd put it out on the balcony and just do it.
No, out. Yeah.
Definitely outside.
Absolutely. Big arms, big legs.
Big legs.
Big legs, have you seen her?
To me, Andy, that's actually a compliment.
I know, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly. Nat, you know, you're asking for my definition of wham earlier.
Yeah.
Looking at you. Yes.
Jeez!
Wham. Yeah.
Max's mediation.
Yeah, she's wham.
Plot twist.
Thick.
Right, behave yourself, guys. I think this is going best in terms of relations. I'm managing to keep.
What did you say?
Thick. I mean,
no.
big.
He said
Big legs.
He said look at
big
you,
legs.
big legs.
You prefer big legs?
Yeah, have you seen
I don't necessarily know that
Okay.
he's talking about himself there, but anyway, briskly
Maybe I
moving
was
on.
born with it.
Gym or sport? Nat? Gym.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Sport. All day.
Obviously.
It's the only reason I go gym.
I don't play a sport.
You do, you're a weightlifter.
Yeah, Olympic
8 weeks in.
Weightlifting.
No, I don't play a sport. Sorry.
Don't play a sport.
I don't.
That counts. That's all good. All right. So, which one of these four is the best compliment? Jacked, cut, yoked, or buff? Nah. Which one?
Buff.
Buff. buff. I feel like you've got to say it in that kind of
Buff.
voice.
I quite like yoked.
Yoked.
It's got more protein in it.
Oh yeah. And cholesterol,
I've no idea
and
I've ever
cholesterol,
heard
Andy.
that.
And biotin.
I don't
Biotin,
think I've
hun.
ever heard yoked.
Really?
Yoked.
I think it's.
I'll get stoked if someone calls
So
me yoked.
in what
Bars.
context? Well, in what context would you use that? You
I think
look
it's
yoked.
usually around like the upper body, like
Yeah.
you're yoked. Like just
Exactly.
like big, it's like big traps, like a thick neck,
Exactly.
big old shelf for your snacks on your boobs.
Exactly. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Oh dear. Last one, guys. Train solo or train with a partner?
Solo.
Definitely solo.
I feel like the answer for maximum mediation. I was hoping for a partner, and then you guys would look adoringly at each other.
always train
No.
with
I like training with a partner, but more so in the scenario we had the other night when we were like in that environment.
Okay.
But
A class environment. for
yeah,
everyone
when I'm
listening.
like really training properly, not just training,
Mm.
I like to just zone out and make sure I get what I need to get out of it.
Since I'm your training partner, I'm taking personal offence to this.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's it for
Need to
maximum
catch up.
mediation
Yeah.
this week.
Me and Andy will
I'm
never
offended.
train together.
Yeah, I've
I mean,
never
Just
seen you guys
end
ever
in
train. Yeah.
arguments.
I mean, the strength deficit is too wide.
Not anymore.
I mean, if you're squatting, mate, you can't be asked to take all those 20s off the
I
bar.
know, that's the
can
problem,
you?
isn't it?
It's
It's
the
like-
height. I can never share with anyone else. Like the
Yeah, I
height
know.
difference is
Yeah.
too
Mate, my
much.
training partner is like a tree.
Yeah, legit. No, I've got to do a good morning every time I put the bar back in the
I'm
rack
like,
for
up
Andy.
here. Max, can I have a step, please?
I feel for you.
He does a chin up and he's still like, here.
Thank you guys for tuning in to episode 4 of the More Than Muscle podcast. It's been a pleasure and a joy as always. And make sure you buy those sessions. Andy, hit with the links.
www.morethanmuscle.co.uk/get the gains.
Nat,
No.
it's not the /. Nat, hit him with the socials.
At More Than Muscle Ltd, at Nat Sylvester, at Max Dodd Fitness,
Flex.
at PT Andy Polides.
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
See you next week.